Hi, welcome to the first video in Module 3 of Student Success Strategies, Tools for Top Achievers in College and Beyond. In this course up to now, we've been talking about perspective, mindset, setting goals, and different ways to plan and prepare for success. In this module, we are going to cover some of the more prescriptive, step-by-step processes that will serve as the connective tissue between your aspirational goals and your measurable results. One of the foundational tools and techniques we are going to use is called a Kanban board. Kanban boards are a way to visualize work, a persistent theme throughout this course. At its simplest level, a Kanban board allows you to see the work you need to do, the work you are currently working on, and the work that has been completed. In this course, we are going to use this simple framework to move forward, but in more advanced lessons, we can expand this tool for complex technical work and work within and between teams. At the end of Module 2, we discussed creating a backlog or prioritized to-do list. For this example, take the top 3 items in your backlog and add them to a list of things to do. This could be on a whiteboard, in a virtual whiteboard like Miro, or on a piece of paper. You're going to need space for 3 columns, so keep that in mind. Draw your first column on the left and label that to do. This will effectively be the starting point for any and all of the work that you'll be managing through this tool. Now add another column beside the to-do list and label it doing. For your third and final column, label that as done. You should now have 3 columns up and down with one on the left labeled to do, the middle labeled doing, and the column on the right labeled done. As we've already prioritized the backlog and the items in the to-do list, take the first item as the most important and or urgent and slide it into the doing column. This now signifies that you have begun working on this piece of work, task, or story. It may take you a lot of effort, time, or resources to complete, or perhaps very little. We'll quantify that later in this module. If it was the example for our essay from earlier in the course, this first task could be research. If I'm industrious and I get to it quickly, perhaps I'm done in 3 days. Once completed, I can slide this task into the done column. The done column ties into our 7th principle from the first module. Completed work is the primary measure of progress. We measure our success by the amount of completed work, tasks, and stories we complete in our Kanban boards. As we move items from the backlog into the to-do column of our Kanban board and across the board into the done columns, we are creating a visual representation of the amount of work we have completed. At the start of the semester or sprint, that is our next lesson, our to-do list will be large, long, and possibly intimidating. However, as we progressively work through the tasks in our backlog, moving them from to-do to done, we create a positive psychological feedback loop. We can now visualize and quantify how much we've accomplished. We can also see at a glance how much is still to do. Dr. Andrew Haberman describes this process in regards to the dopamine cycle. Dopamine is a chemical in our brains that is released and makes us feel good. You may experience it while doom scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or any of the social media platforms. Now, while social media scrolling is the equivalent of empty calories for the dopamine cycle, applying effort and accomplishing a result creates a wholesome meal for your dopamine diet. For each task you move across your Kanban board and complete as done, you will receive a dopamine hit. This creates a sense of satisfaction, pleasure, and motivation to do it again. Depending on the difficulty of the task, this will start off as small, but will increase in a compounding way the more work you complete. This will create a feedback loop where for every task you complete, you will feel good about it again and again and again. The more tasks you complete, the better you will feel. The bigger your done list gets relative to your to-do list, the more satisfied you will feel. This builds a new habit, productivity, and drive, and the motivation for you to keep going. In short, we're hacking your brain to make the process of getting stuff done more pleasurable and motivational, and tapping into principle number 8, agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely, or put simply, consistency is king. In this video, I've explained the model of the Kanban board. In the next, I'll discuss how to use Kanban boards in sprints.